What's up, guys? Today we are going to Team Power Sports in Raleigh, North Carolina to meet up with Kendall Williams from Triple T Suspension to pick up my R6. I dropped it off with him like a week ago and he made a lot of changes to it, so I'm really excited to see it, and just figured I'd bring you guys along and do kind of like an intro video for the channel because I've not been posting on it. But anyways, I'm going to be posting 2 videos a week. Those videos are going to consist of track days, racing next year, street riding, and hey, look, there's where we're going. But yeah, some like racing, some street riding, and stuff like that. How-to videos, bike reviews, that sort of thing. Typical motovlog stuff. This is something I've wanted to do for a really long time. I just haven't really had the time. So it's looking like I'm gonna have the time now. So I'm gonna actually put the energy in and bring you guys along for everything and see where it goes. But anyways, whenever I get down here, I'll give you a walk around of the bike and everything, and we'll just kind of go from there. So thanks for watching though. All right, guys, so I just finished up with Triple T, and he just did a whole bunch of work to the bike, so I'll show you really quick. So the forks, I got it kind of strapped, but the forks, he ended up doing the Öhlins FGK 137s on, with some different springs and valving and stuff. And then the rear shock, he did a new spring on it and changed some stuff out with that. I don't know, changed the valving, I believe, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Anyways, he hasn't given me a full build sheet on it yet, so I don't really know exactly what all was done, but it is going to be sent over, like, I think he said later tonight. So then I will have more insight as to some of the magic that he performed on this thing. But I am heading back home. It is freaking hot. I got about an hour drive home, and I'm gonna unload it really quick, and I think I'm gonna take it around the block. I probably shouldn't, but I really want to ride it because it looks and feels so much different. Like the bike is actually like has suspension movement in the rear. It's really weird to see how easy you can move the bike around now. But yeah, I just want to give you a quick update as I was leaving here, and I'll be home in just a few. I'll see you then. What kind of car is this? It's an Audi.
Take exit 283 onto I-5.
It's bad because like I'm a big fan of Volkswagen and Audi cars,
left to merge onto I-5,
but
east toward
I don't know what that is. I think it's sick. Let's see if we can get a better view. What is that?
Use the left 2 lanes to keep left.
So, I know you guys don't know because I haven't posted anything, but I bought a 2007 Yamaha R6 back last winter, so almost a year ago, to start doing track days and stuff with. I wanted to get a bike that would be better suited for it. At the time I was riding like a Ducati Monster 900. It was a fantastic bike, but it just was not gonna cut it for what I wanted to do. So sold the Ducati, bought the R6, and the previous owner had done some work with it. So he had the front end rebuilt, so the forks were rebuilt, and that was about it. He had some little things like a little quick shifter, and had re-geared it, but the bike was kind of a mess. So mechanically I've got it sorted now. But this whole year has just been getting my feet under me on track. I think I did 6 track days, 5 or 6, I don't know. But either way, I got the bump on my second track day in the intermediate group, and as my pace picked up, I started to have some issues with like corner exit grip and front end stability at the apex. It just felt like the front end was just like chattering and trying to tuck and doing a lot of weird stuff. So I subscribed to the Dave Moss Tuning, website thing. He's on YouTube. You can check him out, DaveMossTuning.com, and he gives you a lot of insight on how to kind of get a good baseline on your bike. And so I did that to it, and it was better, but it was still bad. So I thought it was the tires, so I put a Pirelli SC V3, the Super Corsa track day tire on it, and took it out with the corrected suspension and geometry, and the suspension showed its face bad. I was having a ton of issues at like mid-corner. It just like, you just get this like static feeling through the whole bike, like it was about to just slide out. And it was pretty unsettling. So I decided I was going to take it to Triple T, and Kendall took a look at the bike and found out that the rear shock had a blown bladder, and it was like partially seized. It was only traveling like maybe a half inch. So it was really, really firm back there, and there was also no damping either, so that was an issue. But then the front end was like bad. I don't even know what all was wrong with it, because I put new forks on the bike with the Öhlins cartridges, so the other forks are like currently, like, I don't know if you can see it, but like they're like there somewhere. But yeah, they are unopened. So he's thinking there was an issue with the way that they were installed. At least the guts and like the oil level and stuff like that. But I don't really know. So I took it to him. He had a client with some Öhlins cartridges and 08 forks that they were trying to sell used that needed to be rebuilt. So worked the deal out, made that happen, and he did a new spring on the rear and valving and a whole service on the back. So I went and picked it up, and it feels like, I haven't ridden it, but just pushing on the bike, it feels so incredibly different. I don't even know what I'm in for. In theory, it should just be really fast, but I don't know if my skill's going to keep up with it or not. But the bike is, at this point, significantly better than me. So I got a track day coming up on the 22nd, and I'm going to put it to use there and see what it's like. Kendall's going to be there as well, so if it needs some tweaking on the setup or anything, I'm just going to run it by him and have him do the adjustments instead of me doing it myself, because obviously I'm not that great at it. But just wanted to give you guys an update on it, and I'll give you guys a quick walk around on the bike as soon as I get home. Sorry it's loud. I'm driving my girlfriend's Jeep, and it is not a quiet vehicle. This thing, she's got like the exhaust was hacked off of it or something. It's got tips, but it's super loud. So, but as soon as I get home, I'll give you guys a quick walk around on the bike, and then I'll post a first ride, like initial impressions video of it later this week. I'm gonna take it out to a parking lot. It's got a tag on it and insurance, but all the lights are vinyl wrapped over and stuff for track day, so I don't really ride it on the street. But just that I don't want to keep taking the vinyl on and off and on and off. It's just frustrating when I've got another bike sitting there that has lights that aren't vinyl wrapped over. But I'm gonna take it to a parking lot and play around with it and see how it feels. I should be able to get a pretty good idea. There's a big parking lot just across town that has brand new pavement, and there's nobody there. So I'll be able to go out there and get it up to probably about 100 miles an hour or so, and really get a feel for the brakes and how it feels with some lean angle and stuff like that. And I'll get a vlog of that so you guys can see it. I'm just hopeful that it feels as good as I'm thinking it will. But anyways, see you when I get to the house. Alright guys, so I got back home, took the bike around the block, and it is incredible. So I wanted to do a walk around on it. So what he did was, here, I'll show you over here. Don't mind the mess either, we're still trying to get done. So these are the old forks from the 2007 model. And then this bike has 2008 plus forks. The only difference is a little bit more length in the overall setup. But so he went with the Öhlins FGK 137. It's hard to see, but it's like right there. FGK 137, 30mm cartridges, and the 08 forks. You got the geometry set with 5mm showing at the top. Just on a quick ride, I got on the brakes decently hard a couple times. It's really hard to see because of lighting, but so she's using quite a bit of fork travel, but there's still plenty left for like track day use. And then on the shock, he went with a Racetech spring, I forget what spring he went with. I think he said it was a 9.8, if I'm not mistaken. And then back here, he did the difference, something to deal with this valve, Schrader valve or something, and revalve the shock as well. So it feels drastically different though. Like, I mean, I knew it was going to be better, but like I did not expect that much of a difference. Like, I didn't feel like really anything on the road. I mean, it felt so much more smooth, like it's doing its job. And then I've also got this bike. This is my Triumph Speed Triple 1050. It's a 07 model as well. It's just like a street bike. I don't really do anything other than ride it around in town and stuff, but it really fun bike. I love this thing to death. I toyed with the idea of selling it, but I'm kind of changing my mind on that. But yeah, super excited to have the new suspension on that bike. I mean, it's going to be hopefully a lot better on track. I'm not going to be fighting the bike as much. I mean, I can show you back here how much. So I'm on a 180/60 rear tire, which is bigger than stock, but you can see I'm not using quite a bit of it, because if I get too deep in the lean angle, the bike would just chatter. It would be like static feeling throughout it, and I feel like it was just going to crash. Not the best feeling in the world. Really not trying to crash at a track day. I feel like it's just a pointless expense. It's already expensive enough. Why crash, right? So, but yeah, I'll be doing a ride on the bike probably in the next 2 or 3 days. So probably about the time this video comes out, I'm going to take it to a parking lot and get a feel for the new setup and everything. But yeah, so a quick walk around on it, just in case you're curious as to like what all's done to it. So we'll just kind of start at the front. So I've got these Braking SK2 front rotors. Super nice. I really like the way they look. As far as performance goes, I don't know. It had some 320 millimeter rotors on it that were oversized, and the gap here was very sketchy. There was washers in place for those, and it definitely was not doing what it was supposed to do. So I went back down to the 310s and got that spacing correct. Then I've got, as you can see here, the Pirelli SC3s. It's the track day tire, so it's still DOT approved with, you know, siping and stuff. I mean, I don't really ride the bike on the street, but yeah, so I can if I need to. So front end, so I've got the Core Moto stainless steel lines on it as well, with Ferodo X-Rack pads in the front. The bike stops really well. And then so moving up here, ASV levers, and I've got Renthal grips on it at the moment. I've got another set. I go through grips a lot, so I'll probably swap these out after the next track day. And then I've got these lever guards. They're just some cheap, like, eBay lever guards. I mean, I did not want to spend a lot of money on it, but same thing on this side as well. A lot of people don't run the clutch side because, you know, poser or whatever, but I just like the way it looks with both. So up here I have the gear indicator, as you can see right there. That is actually more useful than I thought it would be. Just kind of referencing on track. If you forget what gear you're in, it's really cool to be able to just look down and not, you know, be wondering. And then I've got the GPR V4 stabilizer on the bike. I keep it set pretty low. It's more so for me, it's more just like a safety net in case it does start to get a little bit, you know, head shake. I don't really care that much because I know I have a safety net. Whereas if I didn't have it, if it started to get a little head shake, I'd probably be a little nervous and timid. I've got Woodcraft clip-ons. They're fully adjustable. A little GoPro mount here. And then I have the Zero Gravity Double Bubble windscreen. Factory windscreen on these bikes is like really low, so this helped a ton in being able to get behind the windscreen going down the straight. I also just prefer the look of a clear one. Then moving back here, I've got these janky frame sliders. I've got to get these off the bike. They're so trash. I'm worried they're going to break something if I crash. But then we got an IRC quick shifter. That was already on the bike when I bought it, but it was incredible. I love that thing to death. It's fully adjustable. If you're not familiar with it, I would highly, highly, highly recommend the IRC quick shifter. It doesn't have the auto blip on this setup, but you can pair it with the Translogic stuff. Then I've got Bickle Racing rear sets. I got those secondhand, fully adjustable. I like them quite a bit. I think the Vortexes are probably a little bit better just because you have more adjustability. Then as far as exhaust goes, I've got the Cormoto lines back here too, so stainless steel lines on the back as well. So then I got this knockoff M4. And you can see that it doesn't line up correctly. But if you look down in here, it's got some pretty welds on it. And that's going to a 2003 to 2005 header from another R6. The reason behind that is it doesn't have the cap. So apparently the gains of going to a full system are not that big. So that's kind of my thought process on why it was installed, and I don't really see a point in upgrading it right now. I've got the Motion Pro quick turn throttle tube on it, and then the Vortex quick fill gas cap, just because my old one wasn't sealing properly, so I put that on there. I've got stomp grips on the center and sides of the tank, just kind of help lock onto the bike. And then Boss Racing tune, so it has been just flashed by them, so it's not like a dyno tune or anything. And then over here on this side, I have an RK gold chain and driven sprockets with a 15-tooth front sprocket and a 45-tooth rear, so just one down in the front from stock. That gives it a little bit more, life coming out of corners, but it was geared with a 1547, and that was extremely short. So I was actually hitting the rev limiter at VIR on the straightaway in the kink. When I'd tip the bike in, it would just get on the rev limiter in 6. So it was geared too short and shifting a lot, and it just kind of upset the bike. But overall, though, it's pretty solid. It's ugly. It's got a lot of zip ties on it and stuff like that, but didn't buy it to be pretty. I bought it to go fast. So, but I should be doing a race body on it this winter, and that is going to be probably about the last thing I've got to do other than safety wire the bike. Right now it's not safety wired, so I've got to do that if I'm going to do any kind of racing next year. And then over here on this side, just while I've got you down here, I might as well show you this bike too. But on the Triumph, this bike is actually pretty close to stock. It's got, I've changed the grips out. You know, obviously I put some Pro Taper pillow tops on it. It's got OEM Plus, I don't know if you can see that, but it says Triumph right on there. So OEM Plus bar end mirrors on it. It's got the Triumph OEM Plus brake master cylinder front and rear. And then it has a Boss Competition twin high mount exhaust system on it. Aside from that, the bike is pretty stock. It's got this Triumph OEM Plus carbon fiber little tank thing so you don't scratch it up. But other than that, it's really about it. Love this bike to death though. It's so much fun to ride. But yeah, so that's both of them. And hopefully the garage or the basement will look a lot better soon. I've got a lot of stuff going on with that as well. But either way, just wanted to give you guys an update on the R6 and picking it up with the new suspension. If you would, you know, subscribe to the channel. The content's going to be a lot different than this most of the time. It'll be more riding and stuff like that. But until then, just be on the lookout.